I have actually been writing a lot and I am proud. Even though I've been writing a lot and I'm proud of what I've been writing, it's still been kind of a struggle. So this is going to be, my writing blog, and I'll just kind of be talking about some stuff that's going on. I will go ahead and just preference that I don't have any really exciting footage to share. It's just going to be me kind of talking about what I've been doing. I do have other like specific updates that I'm going to be including for my Patreon community, so there will be more information there. So with that said, I will just go ahead and mention a couple of things, kind of the ongoing things that I should be working on. I gave an update for the book, I Wish I Could Eat That, with the last week's update, because that's kind of like the food thing. And even though it is a book, it's a book about food. So that's where that update went. The other things that should be part of my like ongoing writing are the toy box of words, which I was working on it, but I kind of hit a stump only because I got so motivated with the next thing I'm going to mention that I really do need to take some time over the next week or two and really get through the next installment of that, because I'm really excited about this next part that's coming up that's called The Farm. And I've started it, but I just haven't really done much with it. So, um, the other thing is the thing that's really been just preoccupying my time lately. What I've been writing the most on has been the Markabletzian series. I'm currently, it's a rewrite of my Eternal Curse series, but what I'm working on right now is a prequel novel to that series, because there's a whole lot of like backstory and everything that was, kind of covered, in the original series. Like nothing was like confusing or anything, but there was just so many details and things that were just not mentioned. And so this is an opportunity for me to go back and do that. The other thing that goes along with the Mark of Bletzian series is that I also have like a game in development. So I'll be giving a more thorough update on the game and the book, over at Patreon. And then the last thing that I'm just going to kind of mention. I have been teaching myself how to use a drawing program on my iPad, because my ultimate goal is to take my kind of short story that I've written called The Legend of Mainland and turn it into like an illustrated story or maybe like a graphic novel. Um, and I don't plan on being the one who's going to illustrate that. So I want to be clear. However, I do feel like I need to be able to, mock it up the way that eventually I'm going to work with an artist for them to like do. But anyway, the whole point of me saying that is I am teaching myself to, use this drawing program so I can come up with basically a storyboard of how I eventually want it to look. And then I'm going to hopefully collaborate with an artist to actually make it look nice. So I'll give, again, more update on that later. So today's little vlog is like, again, like I said, it's not going to be wholly involved in everything, but we're just going to kind of start with me at my desk. I'm still trying to work out the right angles and stuff. That's why this is called the work in progress vlog. So let's go ahead and get started and see what I have going on. All right, so here I am at my desk, kind of smiling at the camera there, just trying to get myself set up. Again, sorry that I may be in and out of the frame just because I'm still figuring all of this stuff out. So this is, and I think I've done a segment like this before. So this is one of those times where I'm not working on like one thing in particular. I know for a fact that when I sat down, here I am glossing up my lips, which that's a reminder for, I meant to do that before I sat down. So let me do that right now. I like to keep it real, y'all. Anyway, I know that when I originally sat down for this, I just smiling at the camera. Anyway, when I sat down to, film this segment, I knew that I did start by working on the toy box of words. This is where I was trying to, flesh out the scene called The Farm. And I was just kind of like hitting a wall with it just because I kept thinking about other stuff I needed to work with. And so I do a little bit of that here. And then um, I think I switched at some point and did some research for my I Wish I Could Eat That book. Again, that's mostly for the foodies. I believe I did actually, I was scatterbrained this day. I actually went on and did like some social media posts and like scheduling some things. This was just sometimes I just have times where I use that as like opportunities to like organize my thoughts so that the next time I sit down, I'm much more productive. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here, just kind of reading through some things that I've already done and then kind of going from there. And so I think that's just what's happening here is I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth from different things, reading, reviewing some things. You know, a lot of the writing process is going back and reading what you wrote. Oh, where did I go? Oh, I came back and I sped it up. Probably had to get like something to drink or something. And so anyway, you can see that I'm actually starting to write. Now, at some point in this footage, I think I am going to pull out my other laptop. Yep, here I'm getting ready to set it up. And so what's happening here is I'm working in a document for one of my stories, and I don't want to necessarily impact the document that I already have, but I have like an idea. So I want to write it down somewhere else. Now, it is possible for me to pull that up on the same screen. However, I want to be able to look at what it is I'm writing that's kind of inspired what I'm writing. So anyway, not everybody has like two laptops to do that. One of these is my work lap. Like I have to give it back to them if I ever leave the company. I could totally do this on like my iPad or something, but it was there. And so I'm just doing this on like a Google document or something like that. No, probably not a Google document. I stopped using Google Docs for creative stuff just because of all of the AI stuff. I could be paranoid, but anyway, I think I'm actually in like notes or something like that. Like I'm doing this like in notes or something just so that I can like get it down. Because it's something that I was like, this is a good idea. And it actually, I'll go ahead and let you guys know, but of course, I'll give more details later. It actually has changed the way that I wanted to start my Mark of Let's in like prequel book altogether. I had this one original idea for like a prologue before getting into like the actual content. And so I've shifted gears. And so I'll give more of an update on that later. But that's what you see me doing here. I've got the one thing up on my, laptop that I use for creative purposes, but I've pulled up like another document just so I could look at that and just kind of be inspired and not have to impact that document. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. All right. And all right. Oh, wow. I forgot about this. So, so what you are looking at now, obviously, I'm not on the screen anymore with my background behind me. This is in the middle of the night. So sometimes it happens where you just can't sleep because you've got ideas. And so I'm working on my Mark of Bledsian series here. And so I will go ahead and just let you know that sleep is important to me, but also is my creativity and being able to, write my stories. So what I did, and this has happened before, I think, but this is the first time I've recorded it, which is why I look the way I look, because I rolled out of bed, threw on that shirt, because I did have on um, a pair of like pajamas that were kind of ratty tatty. But regardless, so my plan here was to just kind of sit in front of the computer and just get some of the ideas out because that was I'm pretty sure what was keeping me up, like why I wasn't getting the restful sleep that I needed. Like there's no point in me sitting here fighting the creativity right now. Let me just do this so I can get back to sleep. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm just going through my document for the Mark of Let's, and I'm finishing up my outline. And I remembered that I'm pretty sure like after this little session, this late night writing session was where I finally started to work on the actual zero draft. Normally when I do a zero draft, I don't do a whole bunch of outlining. I just start writing. This is the first time where I've done like a full, thorough, like complete like outline before doing the zero draft. And so if I haven't explained it before, different people have different explanations about zero drafts, first drafts, things like that. For me, what it means is I'm just writing out the story. I'm not concerned about grammar in any way whatsoever. I expect there to be grammatical and syntax issues in a zero draft. The other thing that I'm not doing with a zero draft is the whole show versus tell. Like those are things that I definitely want to do. And when I start my first draft, that's what I'm going to be doing. So a lot of stuff I'm just going to be like telling, like this is what's happening, da 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 da. I'm writing it out, starting to get that chapter format, all that kind of stuff. But it's not really enough to be considered like a first draft. So, um, but like I said, normally I just will write to do that. That's actually what I'm doing with the Toy Box of Words series right now, which is probably why I do sometimes get stuck because I have no outline for it. I'm literally just writing it as like the flow, goes and stuff like that. So it is what people are reading in that series right now on Patreon is a fully like zero draft. And so the idea is that when I finish that, I will go back in and fix up the grammar and all that kind of stuff, go in and see some places that maybe I say something is happening without describing it, and then like describe it, show it versus tell it, that kind of stuff. But for the Mark of Letzian, because this is so like so important to me on so many levels, I'm not going to get into it right now. I did do a whole lot of like background research, timelines, just all kinds of stuff. Like, really just want to make sure that this comes out the way that I want it to be. I love my Eternal Curse series, but I know that it was flawed, it was lacking, and I want this next thing that I do to really, just really be the best that it can be. I know not everyone's gonna love it. Like I'm not delusional, but I know how much I love these characters that I created. And so if I'm gonna present it to the world, I want it at least presented in a way where they're gonna not look at it immediately and be like, I can't read this. So anyway, I am doing a very thorough outline before I even do the zero draft. And then from that, I'm really hoping, because I've put so much time and effort into this very in-depth and thorough outline, that my zero draft will go quickly. I'm hoping, I'm predicting. I don't usually do this. I don't like to pigeonhole myself, but I feel like once, because I feel like I said, I think this was the night that I know that sometime in the month between February and March, I did complete my outline. If it wasn't this late night session, it was another session that I didn't record. But regardless, from the time that I finished that outline, which, like I said, it was like a week or two ago or something. So anyway, I really think that my zero draft will only take me 3 to 6 months at the most. And that's just because I'm not able to like write consistently like every single day the way that I want to. If I had a schedule that wasn't so variable, which I'm not going to get into that right now, and I could set aside even just an hour or day so that I could write every single day, I could knock my zero draft out in 90 days. I really could, but that's not my reality. And so that's why I'm projecting 3 to 6 months for that zero draft. Once that zero draft is finished, um, and I have some people who I trust to like kind of read the zero draft and guide me on what to do with my first draft. I feel like that will be another, 3 to 6 months, just depending. And so I'm looking at getting past, that first draft, and then, tweaking anything else that might be left over like after that. Like there's gonna be some stuff, but it won't be as major as the stuff from the zero to the first. Like the first to the second, I feel like the second draft will probably be pretty close to being the draft that's going to be published. Like that's probably the draft that I'm gonna move into formatting with. So anyway, and as all of this is going on, I am still working on the development of the rest of the series. Luckily, I already know the story because I wrote it, so that's helpful. But I have made a lot of changes. I'm adding things here and there, and I'm just really excited and pleased with where the story is going. And like I said, I have absolutely no expectation that other people are just going to fall in love with this, but I feel good about it, and I feel like it will resonate with someone once it is said and done. And so I'm just really, happy with what I've been able to accomplish on this, even if it did mean that I had to get up in the middle of the night and work on some of it. So I don't know if you noticed, but I did, get up and get like a a cup of tea while I was working on this. That was, I'm not kidding, that was my sleepy time throat tea. I did that intentionally because, like I said, I just wanted to sit down, get some of this stuff out of my head, and then go back to sleep. And then that's what I'm gonna do. So that was the writing vlog for the month of March. I'm glad that I was able to actually do one, even though I didn't have a whole lot to share. But I'm excited about where things are going. I do have more of an update that'll be shared over at Patreon. I would love for you guys to just, check it out. I do have it set up to where I think you can see all of my content for free for like a couple of days without ever having to pay anything. And then I also have quite a bit of stuff that I share with just like free members as well. So this is not an advertisement for that, but if you are, curious about some of my stories and stuff, I really think you should check it out. So I just want to do like a quick recap. I need to kind of continue my toy box of words. I really need to finish that scene about, farm, and that was my phone falling to the ground. Just to kind of get you caught up, this whole idea of the toy box of words is there's a young man who has inherited his grandfather's old Commodore 64 that he used to create like video games. But his grandfather has passed away. That's how he's inherited anyway. And so he begins to play this game that his grandfather created, only to realize that it goes well beyond the capacity of what the Commodore 64 can do. There's like a little element of like magical realism there, but it's kind of a coming of age, but there's other things that are happening, especially I think with this scene of the farm is where it's really starting to get kind of deep. Anyway, so with the Mark of Bloodsin, like I said, that is me rewriting my Eternal Curse series. I'll leave a link below if you want to check that out. But it's a story of kind of like angels and demons and humans, that whole like dynamic. It is more based on like some biblical stuff. So if you're familiar with some of those like Bible stories, it'll resonate with you. But again, this is 100% a work of fiction. So I don't want people to think that I'm trying to like rewrite these stories. No, this is a reimagining kind of, but I'm all doing all of that to tell this story of this character that I created named Bletzian. And so this is his backstory. Well, not his backstory, the background story to this whole world that I've created, so that when it's time for me to really tell his story, you have all of the background that you didn't have with the first series. So anyway, I'm telling the prequel of how, he came to be, but, this part of the story focuses on his, I guess ancestors are the word, because his ancestors are like angels and demons and, anyway. So there's that. And then also teaching myself how to draw using the program that's on my iPad, just so I can start to begin the first steps of a storyboard so that I can turn my Legend of Mainland story into like a graphic novel. So those are the things that I have going on. I'd love to know, what you have going on creatively. Are you a writer? Maybe you journal, maybe you do creative writing, maybe you're working on a book. If you have some other like creative pursuits, I would love to hear that. My husband has been painting video game logos for a shelf that he's made recently. He is such a creative person. I think we inspire each other. So I'd love to know if you have any creative pursuits in progress right now. I'd love to be able to give you some encouragement for that. And I'd love to hear some. So if you've got some for me, let me know. But until next time, guys, stay safe and be blessed.
Hey, guess what? If you like what you see, you can totally subscribe to this channel. You could also give it a like and leave me a comment. I would totally love that. Okay, bye-bye.